everyone, it's Carissa Wiley here for Concord and Ninth. Thanks for joining me today. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to the entire March 2023 release from Concord and Ninth. Let's get it started with the brand new Window Shoppe pop-up base dies. Cue all the fanfare because it's time to introduce you to the Window Shoppe pop-up base dies. Now, if you remember the OG pop-up shop, it was designed for a vertical A2 size card. Now, this has the same idea. There are some different components, but it is designed for a horizontal A2 size card. So if you're a landscape type person, this one is for you. Now, it includes everything you need to make an adorable window shop, and it's also compatible with the original pop-up shop dies, as well as the bake shop dies and the bookshop dies. So let's look at everything that this cuts out when you use the dies. You have the base piece as well as this awning piece. And then there are several accessories that you can use. Now, feel free, as I mentioned before, to mix and match this with your OG pop-up shop die set. I think you're going to have a great time kind of mixing and matching all these things. But the thing that's really fabulous is there are so many adorable things that if you don't have the original pop-up shop set, you have plenty of accessories here to make an adorable window shop. So you have some greenery as well as a couple of different plant containers here. You have a more modern one and more of an urn style one. And then you have all the architectural details that you can add to the sides of your pop-up shop or the little window box beneath the window. I love that Concord and Ninth has thought of all the little details that really go into making these cards special. This die set includes the bistro light set as well as the die to cut all those little light bulbs, and then a fun little shop die here. You can use the letters individually or you can pop them out and use them as a negative piece. And I love the window on the door for this set. Now let me show you how this goes together because it's a little different than the original pop-up shop. So I have a landscape style A2 size card here. It measures 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. I have the main or the base piece for this window shop, as well as the awning piece. And I also have a piece of acetate here. Now I like to put the acetate behind the windows because it gives my pop-up shop a little bit of stability. So I'm going to start by flipping this base piece over to the back side, and I'm going to add some adhesive above and below the window area. And I'm using this adhesive to adhere my acetate onto the back side of this base piece. So I'm just gonna place that there. I've cut that down to where it fits right over the window piece nicely. And you'll notice that on each of these die cuts, all of the score lines are already created for you. So I like to get them started by folding them forward, and then I'm going to fold them towards the back of this base piece. And I'm going to do that on both the top and the bottom of this base piece. Now, once I have the folds started, I like to go in with a bone folder and really reinforce all of those folds. It makes them nice and crisp, and it helps them to kind of move better when you get them on the card base. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the awning piece, and you'll notice on the awning piece, there are two kind of ends to this piece. There's one with a larger tab and there's one with a smaller tab. I'm going to start by folding them both towards the back of this, but you'll see when I assemble this card that one of them will actually fold in the opposite direction, and I'll show you that as we go along. So now that I have all of my score lines reinforced on all of my pieces, both the base piece and the awning piece, I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive to the top and bottom tabs of this window shop base piece. Now keep in mind, you can rotate this and have your windows on the left-hand side. I'm going to have them on the right-hand side today, but you can do it however you want. And on that larger tab on the awning, I'm going to place some adhesive on the back side of that. Now that I have all of my adhesive placed, I'm going to start adding this to my card base. And I'm going to start with the bottom of this window shop base piece, and I'm going to remove the backer from the adhesive. Now I'm folding up just that very bottom tab where I have the adhesive. See, I'm folding that up, and I'm going to line up that score line along the bottom edge of my A2 size card. So I have just that small flap folded up. I'm kind of holding it with my fingers, and then I'm aligning the score line that is on the bottom when I fold that tab up with the bottom of my A2 size card and pressing that down. So this is what that looks like when it's all adhered. You can see that score line is in line with the bottom of my card. Now I'll remove the backer from the adhesive on the top tab, and this time I'm going to fold both of those tabs in, and I'm going to flatten out that lower piece. So see how I flattened out the lower piece? I folded both tabs in, and then I'm going to press that onto my card base. And that's going to give me the perfect alignment to have this pop up and still fold down flat so I can place it in an envelope when this is all said and done. And that's really the genius of these pop-up shop dies, is because they do fold flat to fit in an envelope. Now it's time to finish our card off by adding this awning piece. And so you can see I've removed the backer from the adhesive on that larger tab that's on the top. And I'm going to align the top part of this die cut with the top of my A2 size card. And I'm just going to place that down. So once again, the larger tab is on the top of this awning. Then I'm going to fold it back, like I mentioned before, in the opposite direction, and that creates the little awning on top of my shop. Now, there are a couple of ways that you can adhere this awning, but this is the most basic way, and I love that this folds flat as well in order to fit inside of an envelope. So let's have a look at some cards that I created using this Window Shop base die set. So this card here only uses dies from this Window Shop base set. You can see I have it all assembled with the awning and the shop there. And this all folds flat to fit inside of an envelope. And then when the recipient removes it from the envelope, it all pops up. I have this adorable yellow bike, a little planter box in front of my window. I have the bistro lights hanging from the awning. And then I have that adorable open sign, which is also included in the die set. Now I've mixed and matched the Window Shop pop-up base dies with the new Fashion Shop stamps and dies to create this adorable boutique. And finally, I've also mixed and matched those base dies with the new Flower Shop stamps and dies. These are both add-ons, and they are great ways to further customize this Window Shop pop-up base die set. I have so much fun when I play with these die sets because I love to experiment with the different colors and patterns and elements that you can add to these window shops to make them completely customized. So there's an up close and personal look at the Window Shop pop-up base die set. I think you're gonna have a great time creating with these, mixing and matching them with other dies and stamp sets, and I cannot wait to see what you create. An up close and personal look at the brand new Fashion Shop dies and coordinating stamp set. Now, these were designed to coordinate with the Window Shop pop-up base dies, but they can also be used with the original pop-up shop die set if you have those. The stamp set includes a fun mix of fashion-themed sentiments as well as these little square designs, which are designed to add pattern to the purses, dresses, skirts, and tops that are included in the die set. Now, the die set has so many fun options for creating your custom little fashion shop, including a couple of boutique signs, a little table, some boots, and some high heels, and a hat. There's even some little kind of contrast pieces that you can add to your boots. There is not only a solid piece for the mirror, but a frame for the mirror as well. And all of these options to create your own little custom purses. So there's a couple of handles here. I'm just gonna show you this one here. This is the longer shoulder bag kind of option. There's also a shorter handle there. And there's some contrasting pieces. Now you can also use that larger rectangle to create a riser on your table. And then of course you have all of your fashion options, including your dress form with that little piece that you can cut out in a contrasting color. And I love the chandelier in this die set. So let's kind of look at this in action. This is a little boutique that I created using the Window Shop pop-up base dies along with the Fashion Shop Stamps and Coordinating die set. I've cut out that word boutique and added it onto my awning, which I've stamped with the pinstripe die from Concord and Ninth. And then I just had a great time creating with all of these pieces, adding them inside of my shop. I added a little planter on the outside of the shop. And then I used the Bistro Light die set from the Window Shop pop-up base dies to create this fun kind of pom-pom garland for outside of my boutique. And you can see my little dress form there with a dress. It has a pattern stamped on it. The little shoulder bag hung on that as well. And then of course, this all folds flat to fit inside of an envelope and then pops up when the recipient removes it from the envelope. I had a great time kind of creating my own little custom shoes and dresses for inside of this window shop. Now, I've also used this Fashion Shop stamp and coordinating die set to create a card without using the window shop dies. You can see that this is a versatile stamp and die set, so much fun. I've created an array of colorful purses here and then stamped my sentiment on the bottom. I think the purses are my favorite because they fit me if I'm bloated or not. This Fashion Shop set is so clever and so much fun and such a great way to personalize your window shop or to create cards that are perfect for that fashionista in your life. To introduce you to the brand new Flower Shop stamps and coordinating die set. Use them on their own or in conjunction with the pop-up shop or the window shop base dies to create some adorable cards for that person that you know who loves flowers, who loves to garden, and who has a green thumb, and that's not me. So here is the stamp set. It has so many fun sentiments as well as that little open sign. And I love this brick pattern because I think there's so many ways that you can use it. And it's designed to kind of interlock with itself. Now let's have a look at all the dies that are included in this Flower Shop die set. First of all, you have that very scripty flower shop that you can put on the awning or the outside of the window. You have several different plant containers as well as different greenery options. And I love that these dies create several of these small flowers all at once. You have that adorable cart as well as the wheels and the little watering can. And then you have some accent pieces that you can add to your containers here to give them a little bit of kind of flair and dimension. I love this little bow because there's so many ways that you can use it, even on this little hanging plant thing. I'm not really a plant girl, so I don't know the words for all of these things, but I know they're cute. And then finally, you have this little box, and there are separate slats that die cut out so that you can create an adorable palette box. These little die cuts that you add on top of the basic shapes really bring these die cuts to life and bring them so much dimension. I love layering them up. And if you want a little tip, you can always die cut these smaller dies from adhesive back cardstock to make the sticking process a little bit easier. So here's a look at a card that I created by combining these Flower Shop stamps and dies with the Window Shop pop-up base die set. I had a great time adding those brick accents along the top of the building as well as inside. I added a little flower to that open sign. And then of course I have a mixture of all of these different greeneries as well. And I even threw in some of the greenery and pots from the Window Shop base die set because they all mix and match together so well. And this totally reminds me of a flower shop in my little hometown growing up. There was brick on the outside, brick on the inside, and this just really felt so nostalgic for me. Now you can also use these stamps and dies on their own to create some fun scenes. And I've white heat embossed this little brick pattern on a strip of cardstock to create kind of a brick planner box. And I've used a variety of the different greeneries and florals included in this die set to really make this scene come to life. And then of course I have that adorable "You Make My Heart Bloom" sentiment beneath it. And I absolutely love those tiny little flower centers included in this die set. So there you have it, a look at the brand new Flower Shop stamps and coordinating dies. Whether you have a green thumb or a brown thumb in real life, I think you're going to have a great time testing out your green thumb with these adorable stamps and dies. To the brand new For the Record stamp set and coordinating die set from Concord and Ninth. These products work so well together, or you can use them on your own to create a variety of different card projects. I think you're gonna love them. Now this stamp set stamps twice to create a full A2 size background. It has some adorable coordinating sentiments and accent pieces that you can stamp as well. Now I'm gonna demonstrate how to use this stamp set in just a bit, but this is going to give you a great multicolor background in kind of a pop art style that I think you're gonna love. The For the Record die set also has some great options that can be used in conjunction with this background stamp or on their own with a variety of styles of cards. Now I've die cut them all to show you and started out with these ovals here that layer on top of each other. I've also used that ray pattern to die cut from that top oval to add that design. There's this mini milk crate and this mini record sleeve, and those are so much fun. And there is a mini record in this die set as well. So here's the other dies that are included. You can see that I've gone ahead and assembled that little mini milk crate as well as the mini record sleeve. I've used the gold star in the center of these records, but there's also a little record label that you can use. You can use the For the portion of the sentiment as either a knockout or the individual letters. And then of course there's the word record along with the backer piece as well. And here's that little record label that you can use on the records. It's so much fun, and I love that you can use that little record to slide in and out of the record sleeve. Now I am using my all-in-one turnabout jig just to hold my paper in place. You don't need the turnabout jig to use this particular background stamp from Concord and Ninth, but I like using it on a stamp like this to just hold my paper in place as I'm stamping. So I've gone ahead and positioned my stamp over my cardstock. This is an A2 size piece of cardstock, so it measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And I've picked up the stamp with the door of the Misty, and I've inked it up in grapefruit ink, and now I'm pressing that onto my A2 size card panel. Now I'm going to clean this stamp, and then I'm going to remove the stamp from the lid and rotate the stamp. But before I do that, I'm just putting the little protective sheet from my all-in-one turnabout jig over my cardstock, just in case I have some moisture or extra ink on my stamp. So now I'm going to take this stamp and I'm going to rotate it to where the top is on the bottom. So you're going to rotate it 180 degrees, and you're going to place it over and line it up on the stamping that you've already done. It positions really nicely. And the great thing about this stamp is really that it lends itself to kind of being a little offset at times. If it's not perfect, this pop art style really is forgiving. So now that I've rotated my stamp, not my paper, 180 degrees and picked it up on the lid of my Misty, I'm now stamping this in mushroom ink from Concord and Ninth. And now I have my pattern. It was super easy to do. Now this is a great two-tone background here, but if you want to add more pops of color, Concord and Ninth has included this little accent stamp, and it's so fun for just adding splashes of color here and there. You could do it on all the records, but that might be a little much. And I'm just using the back of the packaging of the For the Record stamp set to guide me in where I'm stamping these various boxes of color around the stamps. You can stamp them a little offset because it's fun like that. And once I'm done stamping, I'm just going to peel my all-in-one turnabout jig away from my cardstock, and I have this great background. Now let's look at all of these products in action. First of all, I've created this card and I thought it would be the perfect Father's Day card. For the record, you are simply the best. And I created this with an actual record for the O that rotates. And I made it out of gold. The gold matte cardstock from Concord and Ninth is one of my favorite. And I think that this gold adds some really fun accents on this card. Now, speaking of gold records, I've also created this in a different colorway, and I've created it with a spinning record. This larger record is from the Greatest Hits die set, which is also part of this release and coordinates wonderfully with this For the Record stamp and coordinating die set. I think you're going to have fun mixing and matching the various products from this release, including this For the Record stamp and die set. I know I had a great time creating with it, and I can't wait to see how you all mix and match these various products and the color palettes that you use to create your very own pop art inspired projects. I'm totally jazzed to introduce you to the brand new Greatest Hits stamps and coordinating die set from Concord and Ninth. I had such a great time creating with these products, and this retro vibe I'm totally digging. They're so well thought out to work together. Let's have a look at these sentiments. The Hello Friend is so much fun to stamp in multiple colors. There's the Totally Jazzed for You, high five, thank you. I love that you can use these with the coordinating die set, that record sleeve there. And I love that you can kind of mix and match the images and sentiments here to create different looks. Now this You Rock can be used on its own, or you can use it to fill in the little words on that circle sentiment as well. So I wanted to stamp a few of these and show you them in action as they relate to the die set. These circles in the die set and that little slanted kind of rectangle are so much fun to use with these sentiments. Now here's a look at the rest of the dies created with this die set. There's a few dies here layered up to create this adorable record, which it's so much fun to create spinning records on your cards. There's some accent pieces, some fun sentiments. This Just a Note fits great on that slanted rectangle. And then of course there's the little banner that coordinates with the strip sentiments in the stamp set. Now this record sleeve is also included in the die set, and it's so much fun. You can use it in so many ways. I've just die cut it from some wheat cardstock here, and you can see that the die actually creates the score lines on the die cut for you. So I'm just going to fold on all of those lines, and I'm going to reinforce those folds with a bone folder. That's going to give you a nice crisp crease on all of your die cuts, and it's going to make this really easy to put together because I don't have to worry about where to put the score lines. They're already there for me. Now this comes together super quickly. You can see that once I've reinforced all those fold lines, I'm going to add some adhesive just to the tabs. Now I'm using some really strong tape here. You could use some liquid glue as well. And I'm just adding it to those tabs along the side of this record sleeve. I'm going to remove the backer, and then I'm going to fold the tabs in and fold up the bottom of that record sleeve. And that's all there is to creating this adorable record sleeve. Now, the sentiments from the stamp set go great on this record sleeve. They coordinate really well. And this also will hold a gift card if that's what you're looking to do. Now, I created several of these record sleeves and the records as well. I've decorated them with various stamps and die cuts from this release, and I've added them into this little crate, which is also part of the new March 2023 release. Now, this is also great for creating a mini card and envelope type situation here. You can see I've decorated the record sleeve, and I've used the record die cut to create this mini card. Can you imagine this attached to a gift bag or a little gift box, or maybe thrown into your kid's lunchbox as a special little surprise? It's such a fun way to send a little note to somebody that you care about. Now, I've also created a couple of cards featuring these stamps and coordinating die cuts. I think this is a great masculine style card, something that's great for Father's Day or a birthday. I've just created a variety of records with different colored labels here. I've added some dimension and that great You Rock sentiment. And on this card, I have stamped the record with a floral stamp and just heat embossed it. And I've also created a turning mechanism for that record. You can see here there's so many ways to use the stamp and coordinating die set. It is definitely one of Concord and Knight's greatest hits, and I can't wait to see how you all use it in your crafting. Now, I love me a good box die, and this little crate stamp and coordinating die set, new from Concord and Ninth, is no exception. There are so many ways to use this, and I can't wait to give you an up close and personal look. This is the little crate stamp set. Now, it has all of these small mini messages that are designed to coordinate with the tag dies included in the little crate die set. So you can see they fit really great on these little mini tags. And this allows you to kind of mix and match the stamp sentiments along with the die cut sentiments to create a variety of tags. But let's have a look at this little crate die because I think it is so much fun and so fabulous. Before we get to that, I'm going to show you all the tags kind of die cut here. I've used the various words to kind of die cut them from the tags. There is a perfect little heart in this set, as well as this For You sentiment, which I've layered up and added some twine to create its own little tag, but it's great for a card front as well. Now, those are what I would consider like the bonus dies in this set. Concord and Ninth uses every inch of space in these die sets, and I love that. And here's the real star of the show, this little crate. Now, I love that they've designed this as kind of a one-piece die. So you die cut this one time and this is what you get. To create the box, you're just gonna run it through a second time and you'll have all the pieces that you need to create not only your little crate, but also add the little design elements that make it so special. Now, another thing that I love about this die set is that you can get a complete box from one 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. And this die creates all of the score lines that you need to create this box. So I'm going to start by folding along the score lines of each of these pieces and reinforcing them with a bone folder. This little crate comes together. It's very simple to put together, and I thought I would show you exactly how I do it, and you'll see just how easy this little crate is to assemble. Now, I've gone ahead and folded on all of the score lines and reinforced them on the base pieces. Now I'm going to do the same thing on kind of these trim pieces here. Now, these function to add a little more design and a little more dimension to the box. So you can create your box without them, but these just add that finishing touch that Concord and Ninth is so good at. Now, once everything is folded, I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive. This is double-sided tape to these little tabs that are on the edges of these base pieces of the crate. So just along the tabs on all of these, I'm going to use liquid glue for the trim pieces, but you could use this double-sided tape on that as well. I do recommend using a strong adhesive because you are creating a box. And once I have the adhesive added to the tabs, I'm going to take just one of these base pieces, and on the inside of this center area, I am going to place some adhesive. This is going to hold those two base pieces of this crate together. So I'm just adding a few strips of adhesive here. And once I have all of that adhesive added to the center portion of this crate, I'm going to go ahead and remove the backer. And then I'm going to adhere the two pieces together. Now, I like to take the second piece and kind of fold the ends in, and that allows me to line up the two centers or the base portion of these crates with each other very easily. So now I have what looks like this big kind of cross or X. Now that these pieces are adhered together, I can start removing the backer from the adhesive on each of these tabs and then just line up the edge of the next portion of the box with that adhesive back tab and press them together. So I like to take the straight edge of this little crate and line it up with the score line of that tab to create a nice finished corner on my little crate. And I'm just gonna work my way around, removing the backer from the adhesive and adhering those edges together. It's really very easy. It comes together so quickly. And I really love the size of this little crate because it's a great size. You can fit so many things in it. A large cupcake, a bath bomb. I'll show you that here in just a little bit. It is also designed to coordinate with the For the Record stamp and die set. The little record sleeve from that die set will fit perfectly in this little crate. Now for the border or trim pieces, I'm going to use some liquid adhesive to adhere these onto my box. I found that using liquid adhesive allowed me to kind of slide them into place. So if I didn't get them exactly right on the first go around, this gave me a little bit of grace or forgiveness to kind of position them. I like to make sure that the handles on the base of the box align with the handles of the trim piece, kind of slide those into place and then wrap that tab around. Now for the second trim piece, I'm going to pick up right where I left off on that first trim piece, and I'm going to cover the tab on the end of that first trim piece with the beginning or straight edge of the second trim piece. When you're putting this together, it makes a lot of sense. Now, when I wrap this around, I'm going to add this tab. I'm just gonna slide it under that first trim piece. And I have all of my top trims or dimensional pieces in place, and now I can add the dimension to the handles as well. So remember, these cut out with all of the trim pieces and the base of the box all at once with one pass of the die cut machine. And I love that I don't have to fumble with multiple small dies to get all of the pieces that I need to assemble this box. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom trim piece. And the difference between the bottom trim piece is that the top has the areas for the handles and the bottom does not. So you're just really adding this additional stitching detail and dimension to the bottom of this little crate with these trim pieces. And like I said, I love that Concord and 9th thinks of all the details. You can either assemble this little crate without the trim pieces or with the trim pieces. It's completely up to you. So now that just completes the assembly of this crate, and I wanted to show you a few ways to use it. I have trimmed this die cut piece down to create a little crate for the front of a card, and I've combined it with some stamps and dies from the For the Record stamp and die set, as well as the Greatest Hits stamp and die set. Now, I could not resist making a bunch of these little record sleeves and records to go in this little crate. These are from the Greatest Hits stamp and die set. That's new from Concord and 9th as well. You can see I've decorated the sleeves of the records, and I've created all of these records with different colored labels. This would be a great place to have little messages on the back of the records, or even those QR codes for like a playlist on Spotify. I think that would be so much fun. Now, another fun thing to slip inside of this little crate is a set of mini cards. You can see I've used the little crate stamp set to create that fun pattern on the card. And then I've used the sentiments from the Greatest Hit stamp set along with that die set to add little sentiments to the front of these mini note cards. And you can just slip that in there with some coordinating envelopes to create a fun little gift to give to a friend. These also make really great lunchbox notes for either your husband or your children or your grandkids. Now this little crate fits so many different things, a large cupcake, even one of these really large bath bombs. And I've just wrapped that up in a little cello bag and die cut this for you, added a little heart to it, and I'm just slipping that over the top of this bath bomb bag here. And isn't that the most adorable way to give a bath bomb or a cupcake or a little goodie bag of treats? I think there's so many different things that you can do with this little crate. I mean, let your imagination run wild. This is a great size crate. It fits so many different things. I can't wait to see what you all stuff and give away in your little crates. Be sure to share it with us online. So that completes our up close and personal look at the brand new March 2023 release from Concord and Ninth. For more inspiration, be sure to stay tuned here on the Concord and Ninth YouTube channel. Head on over to concordandninth.com and follow us on Instagram.